guys, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Staying Sweet, the podcast. I'm really excited for today's episode. Not only am I joined by my wonderful friend Rebecca, I also have Kimberly Carney, the CEO of the Wires, FashWire and GlossWire, on the podcast today. We're going to be chatting all things AI and how to swipe left and right on your favourite fashion finds. Here we go. But if you want to just kind of tell us a little bit more about FashWire, GlossWire, how you started.
So I'm the founder and CEO of FashWire, GlossWire, and FashWire. We have been labeled the Wires, and we started out with FashWire. So years ago, I was in tech, and then I went from tech to owning a retail store, and I owned a multi-brand retail store for about 17 years. The fashion boutique was a catalyst for launching FashWire. So I would go to market, and there'd be all these emerging brands who wanted to be in my store, and I love entrepreneurs, and I love brands. And what I would do is take a chance and buy like their fall collection and thinking, oh, this is going to be amazing. It's going to sell. And then next to AG and Theory and all the main brands, it just wouldn't sell. So I'd end up selling it for 70% off. And I thought there has to be a platform with my tech mind, and Google and Amazon and everybody, they were just kind of up and coming with the retail side of things during that time because it was years ago. And I thought there had to be a platform where you could go in and give the data back to the brands to help them make products that people want to buy. So that was the catalyst for FashWire. So we launched FashWire in 2018 with a Google partnership. It was huge. That put us on the map. It put us in the top 10 of the app stores. And we started at about 25 brands. And we are now nearly 450 from 60 countries today.
Wow.
Then when the pandemic hit, if we go backwards a little bit, we were about 200 brands and we were quiet. My background's marketing and I know not to go too crazy with the press until you really have something profound. And we got to be part of this charity event called Gold Meets Golden. And we've got in TMZ and we were with BMW, Paul Mitchell, and Nicole Kidman was hosting. And it really gave us our first bit of real press. And then the pandemic hit. And the way we got brands was we were hit trade shows around the world and go and talk to them directly. So all these brands knew us, even the ones that said no. So when retail shut down, all of a sudden the brands were like, hey, get us on your platform because we can't sell our product. So that's when we really started seeing it grow. And then we got a couple of new investors who really loved beauty. And then some people from my team noticed that I had the domain glosswire.com and really they were pushing for beauty. So we redeveloped the platform for beauty. We had to tailor it a little bit differently and launched in February of 2021 with about 30 beauty brands. And today we're nearly 375 from about 35 countries. So it went pretty quick with GlossWire.
Wow.
And
how amazing, even from the start, that you had 30 brands to begin with. Like, that's still such an amazing start, and you've gone like 10 times over.
Well, what's interesting is if you go back to FashWire, we had the brands from my store because I would go and I would get in front of these bigger affiliate guys and they'd look at me like, cute idea, another girl with a fashion app. I'm like, no, it's tech, And so it was disappointing. And so I thought, well, I have a store, we'll just go to shows. And I was from .com in the tech world, so we'll just go and not cold call, but we'll cold walk. And it worked because you build these relationships with people and they know who you are. But I went back to my brands from my store and said, will you please be on my app so I can get brands? And just put us on there. You sell our products. So, and that's really how we got those. On the beauty side, it was Instagram. It was DMing, and we had a gal working for us at the time who really pushed through to the marketing departments of these beauty brands. And so that was what was great. And then we hit the Cosmoprof shows, and then we started really building on and capitalizing on the beauty brands. And then FashWire recently launched at the end of December, and that is for the pet world industry.
I'm so excited about
so I think pet care, think pet products, think pet everything. And we have about 50 brands. We've grown organically over the last couple of months. It will take us to get to a pet show to really start seeing the bigger growth, but it's super fun to watch these brands jump on, and we're telling them grow with us, get on and learn with us, and hopefully we can capitalize from the GlossWire and FashWire consumer as we grow the platform.
So as an entrepreneur, and obviously sort of developing the app into different categories and sectors. How would you describe that experience entrepreneurially when maybe the knowledge in that area wasn't your forte? Like, when was it time to introduce your contacts to your business, and sort of how did you get that help from other people to kind of grow and build the business as well? When did you know to kind of ask those people for advice or insight into the industry?
You know, when I came up with the concept of FashWire, I'd come from the tech world, and I reached out to some former tech people that I had worked with, and I formed this advisory board, which was the smartest thing I did. And it really helped me learn how to even structure the business, get me with the right attorneys, get me with the right... And it's really finding those expert people that you know or even don't know. You know, you can go on LinkedIn, you can go... I fortunately had a network in Seattle where I live, but it really does help because as an entrepreneur, I know a lot think they do, but we don't know everything. We know what we're good at. We're good at strategy. We're good at vision. We're good at pushing forward. And then we have our niches of where we're really good at. But to bring in people from different aspects of the industry, that is what really helped me early on. And then our first developer, he didn't give us usable code. So it really helped that I had these experts who were part of the decision making to bring him on. Then we could pivot and go on to the next. And then you go skip to beauty. I didn't know beauty. I didn't want to know beauty, but I had to learn beauty. And you go back to YouTube and all these different places where you can look and learn, or publications like Beauty Matter, or just the internet of, what's selling, what's not selling, but really learning and understanding the beauty world. It's so different than fashion. It's, I know some people try to say it's the same, but it's not. It's very different because I owned a retail store. So I knew the retail side, I knew the tech side, fashion, but on beauty, you have to know ingredients. You have to know what the consumer's buying. You want to make sure you're picking the right brands that, they're ethically responsible and organic and, have a mission, have a purpose.
How would you say the buyers for your original sort of boutique store in-person purchasing versus using an app to purchase? How different were those audiences, and did you find that your original audience and buyer migrate over and use the app straight away? Like, how did you translate and kind of move those people over to the app?
It's interesting. So when I first launched the app, we launched with Google, which was great, because they were pushing our apps out. But each time a person came into the store, I said, download the app and I'll give you 20% off. So I adopted the customers from the store super quickly.
You get a nice discount if you join my app right now.
Exactly. So, but what's interesting is, having that Google partnership and getting those initial downloads. We initially had over 1 million downloads, but they didn't stick, so it doesn't count, right? And we would organically grow the consumer through through Seattle or through my store, because I still had this store through right up until the pandemic. And so it was really easy to build that customer base who knew me, or from the trade shows. But it wasn't until the pandemic hit when we decided to go from a free app to a paid app. And when we did that, we did a $1 download to philanthropic causes. So we were able to partner with St. Jude and Water.org and all these different amazing charities that has grown our consumer base with not only people who are, socially responsible and love a good charity, but they spend money, And so it's been great organically growing that, because whether it's a startup foundation or if it's St. Jude, you really get a lot of their consumers by promoting it and so forth.
Would you say that your customer base, if you were to paint a picture of them, would they kind of fit into one category? Or because you have so many different brands, is it just welcome to everyone? I know you have plus size brands on there, you have black owned brands on there, you have sustainable brands on there. I feel like there's a huge variety of brands, but what would you say your average customer is like?
Our average customer is, I would say, from about 25 to 45.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to really know because, with the privacy, you can't collect the data we used to be able to collect. But based on what's being purchased, I would say that mid-range is like that 30 to 40. I would guess is who's shopping the most, but they probably have more money.
How do you ensure the app, because the app uses AI, doesn't it, to kind of filter and kind of offer and show users what they might desire to purchase? How do you ensure that those algorithms across the apps remain ethical and also unbiased, maybe with like pushing out certain products? Do you ever work with brands on like a deal basis that they'll be sort of encouraged to consumers, or how does the app actually work from the algorithm perspective?
So from an algorithm perspective right now, we use, visual search, and we also use recommendations based on what you shopped beforehand. So say you go into the app and you're looking at different brands. The next time you go in, you'll get a whole new set of brands that tailor to what you just shopped for. We don't make deals with the brands yet, but it's coming. So we are building out the product recommendation side of AI right now, and also deeper into personalization. But using the search tools for AI is super helpful for the consumer to find what they want to buy. And I think this whole concept that we have on our front page is just each time you come in, you just get a whole new set of brands, based on your preferences.
No, that's great. And
Love
in sort of what ways do you foresee AI shaping not only the fashion industry, but the tech space as well, but sort of merging the two together?
I think every brand is going to have to adapt to AI if they want to stay relevant. It's impossible not to. And just, you take our platforms, for example. I think what's so great about the indie brands and these emerging brands that are out there is they can't afford the infrastructure or to pay for the tech, because building AI and it's not inexpensive. And so I think what's so great about our platforms is they can put their products on there and get discovered using our technology and our intelligence. And then we can in turn give them, the brands, our consumer intelligence to help them make better, product decisions. So we're really not about pushing product. We're really about helping them have more informed choices for their production.
I was going to say it's really hard for startups at the moment to adapt in the AI world. So it's made starting a business, especially as a woman, even harder with all that extra obstacle in the way. So if you had to give one top tip to a female founder that's starting now in the world of AI, what would you give them?
I would partner with a tech partner. For me, when I hired my first developer, I didn't know a lot. I didn't know what I was doing or what to look for. And when I found my second development partner, I went on a gut feeling based on a connection at a trade show. And it's been so helpful to me because not only has he saved us money, but he's also invested in the company and he's a shareholder now. But I would make your tech partner, give them equity, give them, if you can't afford to pay, give them equity, but make sure you find the right person. And the best thing to do is go and seek out the tech shows or through somebody but make sure you get your code checked.
Is this specifically for an app? Because some people might not be starting
Web
off with
and
an
app.
Web and app.
Web app.
Very interesting.
Yeah, so ours was web and app from the start.
Yeah.
And you have to be careful because you want to scale. And if you can't scale, then you can't grow. And we had to completely start over from scratch a year later. I don't regret that because we learned so much at the trade shows from the fashion brands of what they wanted. So we were able to build what they want, what not only the brand wanted, but what the consumer wanted, which helped in our success. And that's just the other thing for people starting out, is just know your audience. Really, because I thought, well, it's a great idea. How hard can it be? And after, we got those initial Google the downloads from our Google partnership, I'm like, where are they? It's like, this is so amazing. And I learned that lesson. But it's not easy to get consumers. And you do have to get creative. And we got creative with being a paid app. It's a one-time fee, but you're giving $1 to a charity. It's a great positioning for the brands. On the consumer side, I think what's interesting is we're really really delving into the tech of how do we keep the consumer a bit more engaged. Is it a point system like Open Tables? Is it a something like that where they can earn some type of credit to be able to go shop these brands? So we're working on that side of it now, which will be pretty exciting when it gets done.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Very
And in
exciting.
terms of scaling your business, obviously, as you grow, you sort of develop into new countries. How has that been, that transition? Because I imagine you initially started with sort of the US consumer market. How has it been translating that over into like other countries? Did you have to position yourself differently, or sort of how is the app looking sort of across as a global platform?
I think what's so great about our platform is it is global. And so when we started, we did hit the U.S. trade shows. Then we went to the fashion trade shows in Berlin and really started pitching the concept to the brands in all of the different countries that would exhibit there. And I will say that we haven't had any struggle with each country. I would say at some points, if they don't have an e-commerce or they won't sell in the U.S., it makes it a little bit more challenging. But what's so great is, as a consumer, if you want to shop in the U.S. today, you can. If you want to shop in London tomorrow, we have all these amazing countries, but we direct the consumer to their website. So as long as they have e-commerce that we can direct to, we have no struggle. Now, if they don't have e-commerce, it makes it more challenging, but sometimes they just want that visibility on the website. So we just don't direct them to purchase.
Have you had to adapt to each market? For example, like you started with the US, like Alice mentioned, but with each country, like the UK, have you had to bring in a different type of style because there's different trends in London? There would be in New York, or have you just brought new brands on from that country?
So what's great about the trade shows we go to, there's 6 months in advance, so we see the trends and what's happening. So we target the brands that are at the trade show. So what we do is we vet the list, and then we can go through the list of the trade show and go through. So when we go into the show, we already know what they're carrying.
Love that.
And we stay with contemporary, and we're more into luxury now as well.
That's a really interesting space, because obviously that's much different from sort of the traditional brands. Tell me a bit more about the luxury market and what we can expect to see on the app as well.
Well, we recently partnered with Cynthia Rowley, Badgley Mischka. We just did a big event in LA a couple months ago with Badgley Mischka, and we're bringing on more luxury brands. I think the luxury market is back. Mm-hmm. Consumers are wanting luxury again, and I think we will continue to see that grow. It's our main target right now because we have enough contemporary brands, so it's luxury time.
I do think quality over quantity is the focus in everything at the moment, and people are focusing on sustainability, and luxury brands are putting that at the forefront more than fast fashion brands. And I think that is a huge part of why luxury brands are coming back, and not just in fashion but in beauty and everything. So that's really interesting.
I think fast fashion, it's not doing as great as it was.
No.
And it's been a challenge, I think, for the fashion industry.
Well, capsule wardrobes
Definitely.
are the way forward for me personally. Like trends, I think, oh, that's so pretty. But then I look back from my wardrobe like 2 years ago, I'm like, why did I ever purchase that? Because it was a fast trend. And I was like, oh, no, why did I have that? But everything that's like timeless and elegant, like I'm always like, oh yeah, that's fine, I can wear that anytime. And I think that's why luxury brands are making such a huge comeback, and people are spending money on their capsule wardrobe, whereas before they'd be like, oh, I'm going to log on to this fast fashion brand and see what I can get for a deal, but then it starts threading after like
exactly
a week.
It rips apart, and that's the problem. And then you go back to wanting to purchase the contemporary or the luxury brands. Plus, I love, as a former store owner, like touching the material and touching the clothes. That I love. I do miss that part of the retail side, but we are going to bring retail back.
That's interesting.
Yes.
Ooh. Can you reveal more?
Yes,
as to
we
what's
are
happening
currently
there?
looking for space in New York.
Amazing.
And we will have the Wires New York, which will feature our
Amazing.
beauty and fashion products.
We will have to come
Amazing.
and visit, because that sounds so
Definitely.
exciting.
Absolutely.
Definitely, that
Yeah.
sounds so exciting, and just nice to see and hear that the traditional shopping space is still thriving and developing, even in like an AI generated world. We're kind of merging the two and figuring out a nice synergy. What advice would you give to somebody who maybe does have a physical product or a brand and might want to work with you?
I would advise them to contact us immediately.
Amazing.
You can reach us through our website, through the app, and through our social media channels. And so I would highly recommend to, jump on and get onto the platform, because it's the other thing that's great about it. It's free to play. Like, you get on and we don't take a affiliate fee until the product's been sold through your website. So you get this exposure, and even if your item doesn't sell, you're not losing money. You still have that visibility, because not everything sells. It's not easy, especially right now, to get the consumer to purchase. That's also half of our battle too, is they have to have a really good checkout, because we're directing them to the consumer. We're directing the consumer to the brand's website. So I've noticed at times we'll lose them once they leave, and that I think is another challenge to overcome. Does that mean we take the sale, or do we keep the same model, or do we work with the brands to help them make a better e-commerce solution for their consumer?
That's really interesting. So tell me, just sort of to round everything up, what you hope for with the wires in maybe the next 5 years. What do you think the landscape will look like?
Acquisition.
Amazing. Amazing. That's a word we love to hear.
We love that.
It's funny when I get asked the question about 5 years. I don't know what's going to happen next week. So many amazing things happen, but I always laugh. Well, we hope we're sold by then. But I think we just want to continue to grow each platform and be the best discovery and shopping experience for our brands, and to also really help these brands not only grow their businesses, but, thrive in this scary retail world. We don't know what's going to happen coming up with elections, and we've been through a pandemic. And I think now we just have to take it day by day, live in the moment, and be super focused on growing your brand. And tomorrow, something might come at you that could be fantastic, or it could be really bad, but you just have to pivot your way through it. And that's the thing for entrepreneurs, is just don't give up when it gets bad, because it's not going to be rainbows and unicorns. It's just not. It is hard. But as long as you have the tenacity and determination, you'll push through it.
We can relate.
Amazing.
Because there's been so many roller coasters in this last week alone.
I know. I just feel like life at the moment, you just don't know what's going to happen. And...
So, and I just think it's impossible to predict, what's going to happen. But I do know that what will not change is continuing to grow our platform, continuing to bring on great brands, and continue to advance our technology and really enhance the personalization for the consumer.
Amazing.
So not only do you have your swipe right, swipe left, which helps the feeds customized, but you also have your own feed, don't you?
Yes, we do.
Can you explain a bit more?
So we created our own social feed so that brands could post their product, and if consumers wanted to jump on and post as well. And it's worked out really well, especially the beauty app. The brands love to post their products, and we also have consumers that upload theirs as well. We don't have the hearts and favorites and likes. We started with that, but I think it's just more exciting for them to be able to show it, because we've just found when the brands didn't get a heart, they'd be like, why is anybody liking it? And so it was just easier to take that piece off. And it's like this visual showcase, almost like a Pinterest type scroll, where you can just go through all the images and see what the brands are posting.
Have you ever partnered, or are you planning to partner with some leading influencers to shop their edits with FashWire? Because I think that would be really interesting on the feed.
It is on the roadmap.
Love that.
It is on the roadmap, most definitely.
Yeah, because there's so many different brands in there that there's certain influencers that I follow, and I always shop what they shop, for example. And every time I see it on them, I'm like, I know that I've worn her stuff before, so I'm going to buy that because it looked good on me last time. It's going to look good on me this time, hopefully. But then if they had an edit, for example, of their favourite things on FashWire, and I had from different brands, I would definitely go and shop from that.
Yes, no, definitely it's on our roadmap. It's interesting how it's gone away from celebrities, and it's about the influencers now.
Definitely.
And as we continue to enhance the AI capabilities for the consumer, we will start to bring in the influencers to help us grow that even further. Even on TikTok. TikTok's been a little bit of a slower build for us with beauty, but I'm seeing I've seen a lot of conversion via TikTok.
Top.
I think the TikTok Live is going to be the next space within, and that's where people are making the
biggest
money.
Well, and we have it for what, less than another year? Who knows what's going to happen to TikTok? But
I know.
but I do think.
Oh my gosh, yes, because it's not in the US and for much longer, is it?
Well, it would be another 9 to 10.
I don't think it will get banned.
I don't think it will either. I think
I
someone will
remember
buy
it
it.
was going to happen before, and it never happened.
Yeah, that's true. Well, the
We're
UK,
so
they're
growing
not going to get
slowly.
rid of it, so you could do TikTok lives in the UK.
Yeah, no, but TikTok lives, that would be. I didn't realize they were doing them already.
Yeah. Oh, that's a big thing in the
It's
UK.
a massive thing in the UK. But most of the brands that have gone viral in the UK are because of the TikTok lives, where they've been showing their clothing on the lives as the owner, brand owner, all the influencers are doing it for them, and they're saying like, shop this link down below for the next 10 minutes is 10% off. And then because they like the way it looks on them, there are so many people.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
We need to do that.
We can help.
We need to do that. Yeah, I'm coming to you for that. That's great. Well, and I do think brands really, that's one thing that's been great on our social media platforms. We have high growth social media platforms as well. And we do see a lot of conversion from Instagram. And the brands really, really want to see their product on Instagram from other people. So we solely focus on highlighting a brand a day and giving them a story, giving them a post. And it's been pretty impactful for not only them, but also for conversion with us.
Definitely. I feel like people, especially the consumer, wants to know the brand story. So I feel like that feed element allows them to understand the brand better. And also with the beauty market as well, it's about education. Yeah. It's about what are the ingredients in this product. And when you're sort of connecting the dots for your consumer, it's kind of allowing them to take full trust in you and obviously purchase.
Well, exactly. And we also highlight our brand founders too, as well, so they can get to know the people behind the brand. And that's so important to the consumer now of, who are they? And to your point, are they ethical? Are they, do they give back? Do they have great products? That's so important.
That's so true, because if you trust in the founder, you trust in the brand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's been so wonderful to have you on today to talk about the wires, and I will make sure to leave all the links below. But thank you so much for coming on and chatting today.
Thank you for having me. This was lovely.